Good Packer Nation morning, everybody. It's a sunny day outside my window. Tomorrow's Friday, and a big Packer matchup against the Cowboys coming up in the divisional round. Guys, some news coming out today, supposedly. Chargers CEO Dean Spanos is supposed to announce that the Chargers are moving to LA. So in like about an hour, he's supposed to, nothing has been officially said, nothing has been officially filed, but within about an hour, he is supposed to get his folks together and make the announcement that the Chargers are moving to LA. They've extended their option to do so. The NFL extended the option, didn't offer him any money, and apparently Spanos is ready to move the team. And so it's kind of interesting to me. I'll talk about that a little bit in terms of our situation as Packer fans. But let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from. We got Roger from La Crosse on the line. Good to see you, buddy. Terry is here as well. Says go Pack, go to everybody. How you feeling? Tomorrow's Friday, folks. We're almost there. We are almost there. Marquez is here. Sam is here. Says go Pack, go from Arcadia, California. I grew up near Arcadia, Wisconsin, so I thought that's where you were at first. Henson, Tucson. Phil is here. Says it's 5 degrees in Minnesota. Wind is here from Tennessee, where it was over 50 yesterday. Pretty nice. John and Terry and Donald from North Carolina. Packer Nation representing right now. I'm liking it. Hey there, Mike and Jennifer from Ohio. It's all over the place. Where's my new friend from Belgium? The name is now escaping me for some reason. I can almost see it, but I can't, but not quite. Hey, Paul, Monica, Hetson, Peter Vargas is here. Hey, buddy, how you doing? But yeah, I think it's interesting. It's I don't know if funny isn't the right word, but it is a little bit funny. And I just feel privileged and proud, and whatever term you want to put on it, that the Packers live in the smallest market in the NFL. And Keegan is here, Trent is here, Greg is here, Marcos and Josh from Denver. Good to see you. And the Chargers can't keep a team in San Diego, but the Packers, not only did we keep the team there, but they have expanded. They're adding the Titletown District, which looks like it's going to be a really cool addition. It's a beautiful facility, but it's the same. It's Lambeau Field, and it's here to stay. You know, it's just nice to know the Packers are going to be there. And who knows, in the future what could happen. But, I mean, come on. Does anybody think the Packers are ever going to move? Not me. Hey, Steve, Kevin, Marley, Felton is here as well. I got to make my way out to North Carolina. I got a lot of friends out there, it looks like. Atreyu says good morning. Hey, buddy. And says go Pack, go to everybody. Chuck, Tracy. Yeah, so I'm just, I'm thankful to be a Packer fan. I'm proud to be a Packer fan because you imagine being in, I'm in San Diego, which must be, I imagine is a great town to live in. The climate's great. And now we're moving to LA, which is, hey, great climate too, but who knows what, everything's shaken up. Change is taking place. Maybe it's for the better. Maybe it's not. Are all the jobs still going to be here? Justin says, history, baby, like Fenway and Wrigley. And that's right. That's right. And it's just good to be a Packer fan, guys. Mash that heart button if it's good to be a Packer fan and you're not driving. Packers play the Cowboys. I checked out. Hi, Damian. Kimberly. Guys, there was one team that had the Cowboys number this year. We all know who it is. The Giants had the Cowboys number this year, beat them a couple of times. I watched the latest matchup, and it was very telling. Guys, Dak Prescott was 17 of 37 in the Week 14 matchup. This was concurrent. The Cowboys' loss to the Giants was concurrent with the Packers' game against the Seattle Seahawks, basically where we really came of age. We really, really came on strong this season in that Week 14 matchup, December 11th. And Dak Prescott, 17-7, 165 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks in the last meeting against the Giants. The Giants did, and now listen, guys, JPP had just had surgery. He wasn't in that game either. Vereen went out of that game as well. And so that's where good old Paul came on the scene. And the Giants did some things. One thing they didn't allow to happen, they just refused to let Dak Prescott get comfortable in the pocket. Now, how many of you guys, and myself included, have said we have got to get to Dak Prescott? We've got to get pressure on him in this game. We need to rattle him. We know it may cost us from time to time because he throws the ball pretty well. I don't think his vertical game is fantastic, and he's nowhere near the quarterback Aaron Rodgers is. But he is he's still a rookie, guys. I think it was yesterday I said it's about time somebody made him look like one. Well, to be quite honest, the Giants made him look like one in this matchup. The Giants beat him twice. The first game, you could say, though, they only won by 1 point, and it was the week 1 matchup. You're still kind of trying to dial things in, whatever. But this was two teams with something to play for. A divisional rivalry game. And the Giants, and for the offense, Eli Manning was 17 of 28. He had under 200 yards. He had a touchdown and he had an interception. He also had a fumble that was recovered. The Giants did not play a good game offensively. And our offense is clicking right now. So we'll get to that injury report, however, because we're still not sure about Jordy Nelson. He didn't participate, of course. We know he's not going to go out there. Maybe he'll practice Saturday. Maybe he'll have some equipment built, some kind of a flak jacket, described as a wearable roll cage yesterday, which I think is a very good way to term it. And we'll see if Jordy can go. But Aaron Rodgers is twice the quarterback Eli Manning is, and he is coming on strong. And Aaron Rodgers, even without Jordy Nelson, has weapons. I think Jared Cook, like we've said, Jared Cook's going to have a big game. We know that Randall Cobb, but here's another one. And I asked the question, which running back was going to have the most yards rushing yesterday? And a lot of people were leaning toward Kristen Michael. I was too. However, one thing, Ty Montgomery had like 100 yards against the Cowboys when we played him in like week 6. And I would love to, especially if Jordy can't go, it's great to have Ty Montgomery because he can come out of the backfield. He knows all the routes and he can run them well. Hey there, Banks, Steve, Taylor. Brad is here as well. Brad says Aaron is the best QB in the NFL. And Brad, you could probably get a thumbs up or two from Packer Nation for that one. Kind of got snubbed for the All-Pro balloting, and I think he's ready to show some people some things that doubted him. You guys hear what Skip Bayless says every time he talks about Aaron Rodgers. He's keeping his job by getting ratings for saying what he says about Aaron Rodgers. That's the only reason he says it. He knows he's wrong. He doesn't even believe what he's saying himself, but he knows that he can keep his job and get paid if he keeps blasting Aaron Rodgers. That's the only reason he does it. Nick wants Rip to run it, and that's, said Sean Lee is so good. I watched him against the Giants, and, our offensive line is better than the Giants' offensive line. I think the opportunity is here, guys. But before I get too far into it, I really need to do this. We need to talk about the injury report, okay, guys? Because, hey, a lot of this is good news. Randall Cobb, full participant. Jaron Elliott, full participant. Rotational guy. Jaron Elliott, who has a nose for the quarterback we've seen from time to time, could be important. Jeff Janis did not participate. No big loss there, except the special teams in particular. We will see, how he can do. He's got a quadricep injury. TJ Lang, full participant. Blake Martinez, full participant. Clay Matthews, full participant. He hasn't been taken off the list yet, but he was a full participant once again and has been looking like the Clay Matthews of old. Jordy Nelson, of course, we know did not participate. He is going to try to practice Saturday. And we'll see. I just got to say for Jordy, we talked about this yesterday, and I think a lot of us are leaning toward just let the guy get healthy because we're worried about him, right? We're worried he'll re-injure it, et cetera, et cetera. But let me just say this, and I know you guys will agree with me. If Jordy Nelson can go, he's healthy to go, and he goes. I just, hats off to you, Jordy. I mean, not only are you a fantastic wide receiver, apparently a really pretty cool guy, but you're tough as nails. I mean, that was a shot, and we're very happy in that case if you are able to go in 1 week after taking that shot, that cheap shot. Hats off to Jordy Nelson if you can go, but buddy, we want you healthy first. Most important thing. Julius Peppers did not participate in practice. It was not an injury-related thing. This, to me, Julius Peppers, after 15 years in the NFL, you can't keep him off the practice field. So I'm not sure what the situation was, but I'm actually kind of glad that Julius Peppers gets a little extra rest because I think we're going to need him in this game. I think he's going to come up big. Nick Perry, full participant. Quentin Rollins participated in practice on a limited basis in that concussion protocol. He's listed with neck/concussion. James Starks is not, I don't think, going to play. Coach McCarthy didn't sound like he was optimistic at all. I don't think it matters. J.C. Tretter did not participate either with his knee. I had been kind of hopeful that we would have him at least in our back pocket for this game, even for the last game when things looked a little better. But guys, knock on wood, this is a halfway decent situation now. I mean, especially if we can get bodies in the defensive backfield, but we kind of know what the situation is in the defensive backfield, at least right now. And we might get some help if Quentin Rollins can come back. So that would be important. But again, it's not this, it's kind of a known quantity, at least back there. And like I've said, everybody was concerned in the Giants game with the defensive backfield, rightfully so. But, I'm gonna stake my claim on this, that these games, this defense is going to move forward based on what we can do up front and what kind of pressure we can get on quarterbacks at this point. And who is it? Banks. Is Sunday here yet? I know, man. Oh, it's so hard. It's only Thursday, but do you notice I tried to help you guys out. I phrased it tomorrow's Friday, not today's Thursday. And so, I mean, I'm trying, right? But guys, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity in this game. Everyone, the Dallas Cowboys are the darling of the league right now because of Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott. The real key to their success has been their offensive line. Watching this Giants game, the Giants basically, you wouldn't normally term it shut down Ezekiel Elliott, but they pretty much did. He was a non-factor for most of this game. And he ended up with, I think, 94, 106 yards, somewhere in there. And I don't expect the Packers to hold Ezekiel Elliott to under 100 yards, but I know that they can. If we can hold Adrian Peterson the way we've done in the past, we can do that in this game. On defense, all right, so let me talk. I phrased this, I titled this video blog, the game plan. All right, I'm going to talk my game plan. Now, I am so tempted, guys, and maybe you are too. If we win the toss, we always defer. I am so tempted to say, don't put our defense is the weakness, put our strength on the field right off the bat, get Aaron Rodgers out on the field, but then I have to stop. And I have to check myself. Because this Packer team, number one, this is the way McCarthy likes to do it. We like to defer, put the defense on the field first, and I agree with that. I was tempted to put Aaron Rodgers, he's hot. Let's go out there, get some points right off the bat, and get this Dallas Cowboys team down and force them then to start throwing the ball by the end of the half. But I think we need to take the risk of putting our defense on the field because, again, once Aaron Rodgers gets on this field, we have to start fast, but then we have the opportunity coming out of the half to do what they call that double dip, where maybe you get a field goal right before the half, maybe you get a touchdown right before the half. We did it against the Giants. And the Giants, which team has a better defensive backfield? It took a Hail Mary against the Giants, but which team has better defensive backfield? The Giants by far, even without DRC. So I think we have to run the risk of putting the defense on the field first. It concerns me because if Ezekiel Elliott gets going early, this could be a long, long night for the Packers defense. But here's the thing. I think we have to commit, I think we have to commit the resources that we need to stop Ezekiel Elliott. If we have to bring Morgan Burnett up into the box, bring him up into the box. But mark my words, the Cowboys play action could kill us in this game. This is the thing that concerns me as much as anything else. Ezekiel Elliott he's a weapon in more than one way. He has, up until week 14 at least, he had dropped one pass as a running back. One pass all season. He's excellent catching the ball out of the backfield. The play action, when you commit resources to stop the run, the play action is there. When you got Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, the play action is there. Watch for the Cowboys misdirection. They got us on misdirection the first time around. They got Kyler Fackrell peeking inside and breaking contain on a read option. We've got to play sound defense. And we've got to commit the resources I think that we need to stopping Ezekiel Elliott. And then the question becomes, what can we do on the outside? If we end up manned up on the outside, there goes the play action, and we're going to have to hold some coverage. So this, again, could be a concern. Because at that point, we wouldn't have the two deep safety look that we kind of would like in this situation. And Thomas is mentioning, it's been mentioned several times too, and I agree that, Beasley, Jason Witten, here's the thing, Jason Witten in the meeting with the Giants, and let's find out how many catches he has while I'm at it. Witten, 4 catches for 26 yards in that game. He was forced to block. He was forced to be a blocking tight end in that game. And they still, Ezekiel Elliott with 107 yards on 24 carries. Guys, this Giants defense, all right, the Giants defense compared to ours, all right, it's not a bad comparison other than the defensive backfield, right? We expect them, if we don't get in Dak Prescott's face, get him off his spots, make sure he can't reach his launch points, then he is going to probably shred our defense at some point. But other than that, I think we can match up against this Cowboys offensive line, which is their strength. But we can't let Ezekiel Elliott get hot right at that. The Giants, in this meeting, the Cowboys scored in like the first quarter on a pass from Dak Prescott. They never scored again. The Giants shut the Cowboys out for 3 or 4 quarters, the first quarter being the only quarter they scored in. Now, they only won 10-7 in this game. But now, let's comp the offensive side of the ball. Which quarterback would you rather have, Eli Manning or Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers. We've got a triple threat at running back. We got Kristen Michael, Aaron Ripkowski, Ty Montgomery. I'm tempted to think Ty Montgomery is going to be a guy that really has a part to play in this game. And Kenny's mentioning the Cowboys are inexperienced in the playoffs. Bottom line, I don't think that's the bottom line, to be honest, because they've shown, the playoffs amp it up a notch. They're playing at home. They're going to be perfectly comfortable in that regard. But yeah, they are inexperienced. It's about time somebody shows their inexperience. And the Giants were able to do it. I don't see any reason why the Packers shouldn't, because our offense is better. Brad is calling for the upset of the century. I think, I don't want to jinx us, but I think there is an opportunity for the Packers to make a statement in this game, right? Not only to go out, if our defense has been doing a better job of holding teams out of the end zone. But our offense is on fire. Now, the Jordy Nelson question comes into it a little bit, but my goodness, Geronimo Allison, he's a weapon too. And we didn't have Jared Cook in the initial meeting against the Cowboys. This Cowboy team, who is it, Spagnuolo on D coordinator? It's a headache, man. We are a headache right now for defensive coordinators. And Jim is mentioning key to the game is how we handle that offensive line. And here's how they handle it, all right? Now, so I'm moving on with my, I talked about the defense. Here's what I want to do on defense, and I mentioned this yesterday, all right? If we stack the box, we commit the resources we need, we get them into 3rd and long. If we can stop the run, all right? That's the biggest key right off the bat. And again, that goes to how we handle the offensive line. But once we get these guys in passing situations, the opportunity is there. What the Giants did, they committed a rush, an inside rush that drew Tyron Smith, the left tackle, I think, inside, and then they stunted around it. Now, what did I say yesterday? I said I want to see Clay Matthews play inside linebacker again because I want to get Julius Peppers, Nick Perry, and Clay Matthews. I want to stack Peppers and Matthews. Smith is only one guy, and stunt Clay Matthews around it or vice versa, and get Dak Prescott off his launch point. Now, we can't break contain because remember, Dak Prescott has more rushing touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers does. But if we can get them into passing downs, if you get them in 3rd and long, the last thing Dak Prescott's going to want to do is face Julius Peppers and Clay Matthews stacked on one side, and guess who's coming from the backside? The club. And the Giants had a lot of success against Dak Prescott in this game. Let's see, how many sacks did they end up getting? And they didn't actually even end up getting there. They didn't actually get Prescott on the ground a lot, but he threw 2 picks. So this is where the rookie, and Dak, statistically, Prescott is actually better when you blitz him. But I still think we need to put pressure on him. I still think we need to force the pressure on him, force him to try to get to his hot read, get a hand in his face that he can't throw around. And it all starts with, because again, if you were to ask me, and I'll ask you, thumbs up, heartbeat, if you don't agree, all the talk is about the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. They are the best in the league run blocking, but I'll take the Packers line pass blocking. Look at the time that Aaron Rodgers gets against any team that comes at us, basically. Anybody. And Aaron Rodgers, in the initial meeting against the Cowboys, had that same amount of time. There was a couple where he turned around, ran away. That's what happens when you have Aaron Rodgers in the backfield. It's going to happen from time to time. But Aaron Rodgers had tons of time. He just was off in that game. And we had receivers dropping the ball. Well, now he's back in sync. So, defensively, I think we need to do what we can to draw Smith inside and then beat him to the outside. Clay Matthews stunting around. Come on. Clay Matthews, I don't know, his ankles are removable on swivels or something because he can be 18 inches off the ground and, his head and his feet all the way. He can beat a guy around the edge now. And I think that's what we're going to need to do. Offensively, again, I'm tempted to say, let's just put Aaron Rodgers and try to get up early. Try to get the offense going early. But I think we need to defer if we win the toss, like we usually do. I almost always agree with that strategy. And in this case, there's been, I think, once or twice this year that I've called for going the opposite way. I'm torn this time, but I think we need to risk it, put our defense on the field. And then when Aaron Rodgers comes out, now we've talked about trying to play, even though we know Aaron Rodgers is going to have to throw the ball. The Cowboys, I think, were number 1 in time of possession in the league this year. But what I'm saying is we have to get off to, so for 2 reasons, I'm going to go against what I normally would say in this situation. We have to get off to a fast start offensively, and we have to quiet the crowd down. Look at the trouble we had against Detroit. So I am for rolling out the no huddle on the very first offensive series. Just let it all. Mike McCarthy, I think he only scripts a handful of plays. A lot of teams, coaches script more plays. McCarthy, not so much. But let's let Aaron Rodgers go out there and let's take it to him, force him to set on defense. We know, and Aaron Rodgers will be able to pick up whatever defensive set they decide to put on the field. Let's keep them locked into that set. Let's drive down the field with the no huddle initially. Let's get them on their heels early, because we're taking advantage of the fact that crowd noise will not matter at that point, other than if we false start or something. But there really would be no excuse. The crowd noise, initially, we struggled in Detroit, and then we saw the flags start coming out. Well, let's just play no huddle, or I'm not really for scripting any more plays than they have done all year, because that's just a change I don't want to make. And then we go downfield, let Aaron Rodgers go ahead and run that first drive on the field. And then that's assuming our defense, can get it done. Now, if our defense gets it done, then we're looking at maybe we're up 7-0, which obviously is ideal, right? And Danny, I agree. Aaron Rodgers is fantastic out there. It's like having a second coach on the field. I say we take advantage of it, because you've got a handful of plays already scripted, so there's the crowd noise won't factor into that so much. And then just let Aaron Rodgers team down the field and do what he does. And, hopefully we can get off to a fast start, because I think we're going to need one in this game. And that's JB, I'm agreeing with you, definitely. If we can take this crowd out of it early on, I say we just take the wind out of their sails. Let's keep Dak Prescott uncomfortable in the pocket. And Timothy's mentioned the shot plays that we have a tendency to give up. And I think that there's the possibility, especially, with Ezekiel Elliott, we're going to end up singled up is the problem. But I don't think if we just get Dak Prescott a little bit rattled, I don't think his vertical game is going to be too much of a factor. We'll see about that. We'll see how our trailing technique by these cornerbacks when they get singled up is. We saw in the initial meeting guys just fundamentally unsound. We had guys falling down. We had Ladarius Gunter getting turned around. But I think Gunter's going to have another good game, one of his good games. And we got to contain Ezekiel Elliott in this game. Because that the Dallas Cowboys want to run the ball and win the time of possession too, because they want to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. They know how dangerous he is. And Wynn's mentioning Beasley's a threat too. I'll tell you let me see here, who wasn't a threat. Since we were talking about the vertical game, they're going to try to go to him from time to time. But in the Week 14 matchup against the Giants, Dez Bryant had 1 catch for 10 yards in that game. So if we can if we can shut him down, then of course the underneath is going to be there. I'm concerned about that too with both Witten and Beasley. But John is making a great comment now. Tackle. And this is another thing that it jumped right off the page. When you watch the Giants beat the Cowboys, what they were able to do is take away the outside, and then they made absolutely fundamentally sound deadpan tackles underneath. And I think I mentioned it yesterday. This Packers team, from time to time, we get a little shaky with our tackling. Let me say it that way. We cannot afford that. That underneath stuff, what they're going to do if we can take away the outside, if we can take away the vertical game, they're going to try to throw it underneath and let their wide receivers get that extra yard or 2 or 3, whatever it is, for the first down. The Giants' open field tackling was excellent. Our open field tackling has to be excellent in this game. So anyway, I want to see us on defense. I want to see defense go on the field first. Hopefully we win the toss. And we've got to commit the resources we need to stop Ezekiel Elliott. If he gets going early, I think this could be ugly. If he gets going early, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Remember when we had this problem on defense, where the defense would give up a First series touchdown, right before the half a touchdown, and right at the end of the game a touchdown in almost every game for a while there. Now, we've been able to stop that in the recent past. In this run, we've played better defense, so we've got to continue that. Commit the resources to stop Ezekiel, but play fundamentally sound. It's my daily Kung Fu Theater time on the stream for some reason. Commit the resources we need to stop Elliott, but don't get sucked in on the play action. And they're going to try the misdirection, mark my words. Unscouted looks. This team is, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this team doesn't have to reach into gadget plays early in this game. So, and then on offense, we got to let Aaron Rodgers do what he does. Let's get off to a fast start. None of this like we did against the Giants. Their pass rush, I mean, the Cowboys, they are not a big blitzing team. I expect them to play a lot of nickel back there and try to just limit what Aaron Rodgers, how badly he can hurt them. But when they blitz, they are fairly effective at it. They're very disciplined. They understand the timing. They understand the gaps and spacing required, and they're quite efficient at it. So we've got to be efficient at blitz pickup. And let Aaron Rodgers do what he does, guys. Andrew says Jesse is going to get his yardage. We just have to score stops. Yes, I'm saying let Aaron Rodgers do what he does. He's doing it at a level that's beyond. I mean, it's almost beyond Aaron Rodgers. Like he's flipped the switch. And then we know we can't sit here and stew about Ezekiel Elliott, but I think we need to commit the resources we need to do what we can to limit him. We know he's going to get his yards, but for crying out loud, he got over 100 yards against the Giants week 14. And they scored one touchdown in that game. It was a passing touchdown. So yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity. When you look at matchups, the Cowboys defense, I don't think matches up. Thumbs up if you agree with me that this Cowboys defense, I don't think matches up well against Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, they didn't match up well in the initial meeting. We were just dropping everything that came our way, and Aaron Rodgers was missing at the time. He wasn't in sync. And I see a lot of people are agreeing with this Cowboys team, this defense had better watch out. Because this Packers offense is as good as it gets in the NFL right now. All the love that Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons got, we have turned it up a notch from there. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Seattle doesn't go down to Atlanta and beat them this weekend. But we got to take care of our business, and we got to do it our way. And this is Coach McCarthy talked about this too, and it really started not in the Texans game, but in the Seattle game. Maybe it started against the Texans. But week 14, I mean, I was there, me and Garth, Kale and Jonah, and we sat there and we watched this team find its identity. We saw the interceptions come back in droves. We saw Aaron Rodgers just become unstoppable. We saw what Davante Adams could do. And from there on out, they just continued to develop an identity. Now, not having Jordy Nelson would be a hit, but it's not going to take away our identity at this point because we've had Geronimo Allison out there with experience. He knows what he's going to have to do. And Billy's mentioning Packers with the number one offense in the last 7 games. We talked about it yesterday. For the last 8 games, Aaron Rodgers, 22 interceptions and no picks. However, we are dealing with Dak Prescott. Remember, Dak Prescott set the rookie record for most passes without an interception with 176. Giants game through 2 picks. And I think, and the Giants didn't have JPP in that game. So I think we have an opportunity, guys. And I really, really think if we can get them into, as Jacob said, touchdown Brady. All right. But I really, I mean, and I know some of you guys are going to be on this too. If they're smart enough, we could go 2 down linemen, put in Clay Matthews at the inside linebacker position, and still have resources on the back end. We could still play dime at that point. If we do 2 down linemen, and you would have Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers, and Nick Perry all at pass rushing on the field. I mean, I hope Dom Capers is sitting down with Clay Matthews this week and saying, listen, buddy, we know we're okay at inside linebacker, and I'm not taking anything away from Martinez. I'm glad he participated in practice. Not taking anything away from Jake Ryan. You guys know I'm a big fan of the way Jake Ryan has played this year. I think it's fantastic. Joe Thomas has been the thumper. I hope he's healthy. But in this situation, I hope that we see Clay Matthews in there, in that spot. And Matthews is going to be licking his chops because the only reason they're going to switch him over there is just so we can bring Julius to the inside. Again, Tyron Smith, once you get past their left tackle, Clay Matthews stunting around the outside, dangerous stuff. And Dak Prescott looking out on the field. He's got 56, he's got 53. Oh, and then he's got 52 as well. Wait a minute. Now he's going to start getting jumpy. Maybe he makes a mistake. If we get there, we drag him to the ground. We've seen this team, this defense, has shown a propensity to be able to knock the ball out of quarterbacks' hands. And we've got Julius Peppers. Usually he's on the other side. Excuse me. Julius Peppers is huge. The dude's huge. His range is incredible. So if Matthews forces him to step up, Julius Peppers is still going to be there. I say we take this offensive line to task. The job one is to force them to throw the ball because they're not as good against the pass as they are against the run, or in the run game, run pass blocking. Yeah, and then we got Daniels in the middle. We got Guyon. So, folks, I think the table is set, and I think, and we've talked about this too, you know, this is a Cowboys team that's been kind of cooling their heels for a couple weeks now. Took their starters out. Tony Romo went in week 17. And thank you, Andy, and somebody else mentioned, you know, there is a guy named Mike Daniels who's going to come for a fight. When Mike Daniels, all he's going to hear about is how great the Cowboys' offensive line is. He's going to take that personally as well. And James says, I still think it'd be amazing to see Christine Michael run all over Dallas. Poetic justice. I was hoping against Seattle that he would have, you know, had a chance to run. It's too early, I think, at that point. We saw he had that miscommunication early on in the game. But yeah, I mean, I think it can happen. I love the way he hits the hole, but the concern I have, I love his energy. He's a spark plug, but he's got to be patient. You've got to be patient first. For a running back, you got to be patient to make sure you hit the right hole, and then he can blow it wide open. Hit it like a ring of fire. Bonnie is here from Hawaii. I bet it's warmer there than here, though it's not bad at all right here. I hope everybody up in the Wisconsin-Minnesota area was safe. There was some pretty bad weather that rolled through with sleet and snow and all kinds of weird stuff, I think. Peter's got Daniels. Hit him in the mouth. Yeah, and guys, we have to go out. We have to go out in this game defensively and freaking take the fight to them. I want to see. I mean, the penalties we had early in the season, we had these sort of personal foul penalties. I don't want to see it after the play, but I want us to be talking. I want us to be in their ears, in their faces, and take the freaking fight to them defensively and show them. We don't give one rat's about this offensive line. I could care less about them. We're going to chew them up, spit them out, and move on. That's the attitude we have to have. We got Texas and Florida saying it's 70s there. Yeah. Rubbing it in. But we have got to take the fight to them defensively and get Prescott rattled. So, all right, well, I'm starting to repeat myself, but that's my early game plan. You guys, tomorrow is Friday, Prediction Friday. Get your predictions ready. I am not ready with mine just yet. I'm not hesitant in some ways, but a lot of times, you start predicting and it's easy to wear green and gold colored glasses. I think in Dallas's favor, they're playing at home, like was mentioned earlier. The running game. This is what I think my biggest concern about this game is defensively. Are we going to stop the run? Are we going to be able to stop the run? And really, that's not even the question. The question is, to what extent are we going to be able to stop the run? And I expect that this Cowboys team, they're going to know that they're going to start off hoping that they can get Ezekiel Elliott going early, and if they can, we're going to struggle. Later on, hopefully, if we stop the run, they'll put it. They're not afraid to let Dak Prescott throw the ball around a little bit. But we asked yesterday, because I heard somebody else ask on the radio, if Prescott struggles and they're down at the half, should the Cowboys put in Tony Romo? So you guys, if you didn't get that question, you guys can answer that one again today, because I just love that question. Put the Wisconsin boy in. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think it's possible that the being behind at halftime can happen. And if we let Aaron Rodgers do what he does, then when we come out at the half, if we win the toss, we defer, we're gonna be able to score early again in the half, and we're not going to take our foot off the gas. And that's going to be important in this game. We got Tony who? Tony Romo. Which team is he going to be with next year? Be interesting. Cowboys, you got to give the Cowboys, they really kind of struck gold with Dak in the fourth round. This was a team that got blown up last year. They got blown. When they lost Romo, they couldn't win a game. And boy, to come back and be where they're at now, and it looks like they're kind of set for the long haul in this regard. It kind of reminds me of, Aaron Rodgers, first rounder, but picked much later, And then we picked up Eddie Lacy, and it really, really solidified, opened some things up to us. Then we had that year where both Cobb and Nelson, I think both had, like 1,500 yards, but they had huge numbers, both of them, at the same time in the same year. This year, we've had our struggles with the run game once Eddie Lacy went out. Eddie Lacy was our number one offensive player, bar none, in the initial meeting against the Cowboys. So we are going to be missing that, but we've found, and I've mentioned this, I would want to ask Coach McCarthy if I had a chance. Just be honest with me, Coach. Was it to some extent fortunate that not just Eddie Lacy, but Eddie Lacy and James Starks got knocked out for extended periods of time with injury at the same time? Because I think if that didn't happen, we wouldn't know what we had in Ty Montgomery. I know they knew he was versatile, but guys, really, do you think that we would have... And now we got Coach McCarthy up there saying, he's a running back. He's my running back. Well, what are you going to do in the future? He's my running back. Would we have discovered that if that didn't happen the way it did? I think there was some serendipity, to be honest, in that. And now maybe we can get Eddie Lacy back healthy on a decent contract, because he's not going to have much leverage after a year worth that he sat out most of the year with an injury. And in the preseason before that, his weight was a concern. Or the postseason from before, and then in the offseason he cleaned it up. Got Glenn from Pennsylvania. Peter says Romo's one hit away from breaking in. Yeah, these back injuries, man. If he's got to be contemplating retirement at this point. And Sharon's right. Lacy was the only player that stepped up against the Cowboys. Lacy shouldn't have played in that game, but thanks to TT, we had no choice. And he was. Eddie Lacy, remember this was the aerial Eddie Lacy show? Do you remember this game? Eddie Lacy was flying through the air on every single play, it seemed like. But boy, was he a beast. Now, are we going to expect to get that kind of performance? I think so. Do you want to know why? I don't necessarily. I would like to think Kristen Michael, Eddie Lacy had to go out of the game Then he came back in, and he was hurt. Ended up only having like 65 yards. I think we have more success in the run game, but it's going to be that mix again, I think. I hope Christine Michael gets some reps because I think his speed will help us. And then, of course, Ty Montgomery, and if Jordy can't go, Ty Montgomery, of course, he's lined up in the slot, etc. He can go anywhere, basically, on offense. And then, of course, short yardage. If we can get ourselves into short yardage situations, this is going to be a long night, a long day for the Cowboys because we got Aaron Ripkowski there as well that can carry basically an entire team on his back for 13 yards at a time. So Mario is here. A-Rod can do his job. It's up to our defense to step it up 100%. And I agree. And guys, again, the defense is still a concern, but they have been playing better ball. They've been keeping teams out of the end zone. We're going to have to do that. And if we can get Rollins back on the field, again, it doesn't seem like his neck is an issue. He's basically in concussion protocol. And I think, to be quite honest, I think they're just being a little overly cautious with him. The concussion protocol is what it is. He says, stop Zeke, and we have this. Jason is trolling. All right, where are you? Yeah, Jason, the trolls. I love it how they troll, and then when I catch them, they all just freaking disappear. Will Allison play? I think in this one, Allison's going to get some reps. Yeah, because if Jordy goes, he's not going to. I think Jordy's on a pitch count if he goes at all. Let's see. We'll take our time here. Where are you, Jason? See ya. And if I get the wrong guy, just forgive me because I'm pretty sure I got the right guy this time, but it could happen. Like, it's funny because sometimes I reach up to hit the finish button and it actually, if it clicks on your name, it'll actually pop up the band, what I'm doing. I've been concerned that I'm looking and what'll happen is I'll end up, banning somebody off when all I'm trying to do is close out the video. All right, Phil's got Shum as the dark horse. It's actually a good point because, again, how important is field position going to be in this game? I mean, when you're playing away, you're playing in it's going to be loud. Field position is going to be very important in this game. And Jacob Shum has come on. I mean, I was not for that move. It wasn't because of the way he punt. I knew why they brought him in because he can punt. He can get that vertical punt coming. And we saw Odell struggle with this when the Giants played the Cowboys. We saw that. And it was described as when you get that vertical ball, it almost comes down like a Frisbee. It's really hard to catch. That's why we brought him in. My concern was with him holding the ball and why we felt like we needed to change it out. Now, thankfully, we had our one little problem with that early in the season. And Shim's been good, and Mason Crosby has been on. Guys, here's another field position, right? On both sides of the ball, we've got kickers that can kick 50 plus. Bailey for the Cowboys, I believe. He had a 53-yarder in the Week 14 matchup. He missed it, but barely. It was right on, but it bounced off the front. It bounced off the crossbar. That's how close it was at 53. We all know what Mason Crosby can do. Wind's not going to be much of a factor. Now, this Packers team, the way we score, we don't always expect that this is the kind of offense that's going to require Mason Crosby at the end of a game, but we've got to think about it. And look at our defense. If this thing comes down to a field goal, if this game is close enough to come down to a field goal, number one, I'm going to be beside myself, but it's going to end up who has the ball last because, I mean, Mason Crosby and Bailey, these guys can flat out kick that ball. They're two of the best in the business. All right. Bonnie says MVP, MVP, MVP. How about we close the show with hashtag MVP Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. Hashtag run the new table. That's my hashtag. It's time, guys. We've got another game to keep us on this path. I think this is a special year, and there is no reason the Packers season ends right now. We got to go out and we got to beat down these Cowboys and show them who the real bully on the block in the NFC is. It's time. So, guys, tomorrow's Friday. Sunday's coming. We're getting there. I hope you have a fantastic day. We don't get to, we don't get any more Thursday night football, unfortunately, but rolling into your Friday. I will be back tomorrow. Same pack time, same pack place. Tomorrow's Prediction Friday. Get your predictions ready. We'll be talking about them. I appreciate every last one of you jumping on, even the trolls, because they keep it fun as well. Y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Go Pack.